Hi, I just came back from the optometrist and they dilated my pupils and then never gave me, the glasses things, the shades, and I don't know where my sunglasses are. And so it was a very overexposed drive back to the studio, but I'm here now. Thank goodness I made it. And I wanted to show you something that I worked on actually several weeks ago. If you saw my Insta stories, or I think maybe I even did an Insta live about it, you may have seen it. It was for an autumnal dinner party, essentially photo shoot. It was actually for one of Kiana Underwood's. She's a Tulipina. Did I say her last name right? Yeah, that's it. Kiana is an incredible florist with Tulipina Design. She has actually another handle on Instagram now, Tulipina Italia, but her main handle, 356,000 followers for a florist. But you can see why if this will focus. Anyway, go check her stuff out. But she worked with some of my favorite people, Rachel and Tamar at the Lake Como Wedding Planner, on a workshop a few weeks ago. And I sent these menus over. I actually sent another piece over that I'll show you at another time. But I was really proud of how these menus came out. Boy, my white balance is... I was really proud of how these came out, and this project was a particular challenge because there weren't people driving the meaning of it. It was purely aesthetic, really, and that's not really the way that I work. I try to imbue as much meaning into things as I possibly can. I couldn't see a thing yesterday. It was hello. It is now colder than it was yesterday. So anyway, I kind of felt like I was working with one hand tied behind my back, because the nature of my work is really about reflecting my clients in what I do, creating something that is so uniquely them that whoever receives it knows where it came from. And that was kind of hard to do in this situation because ultimately there wasn't really like a client. This was an aesthetic exercise. And so I relied on the things that I knew about Rachel and Tamar and the Lake Como Wedding Planner, and created something that I think was pretty spectacular for them. But even if I didn't really get to reflect any individual's personality in my work, I did have the opportunity to flex some creative muscle. And the super cool thing about this project is, aside from designing the menu, which we took a different menu and designed the printed parts. This whole thing came together in less than 24 hours. I ordered the dies the day before, they came the next morning, and that morning I printed, designed, I hadn't even designed them yet, designed and produced these. So I figured I'd take you through the process of what that looks like, starting with the pre-printed sheets. It's a little loud. So very first thing I did was glue the printed menu part onto, this is 1/8 inch MDF, and we are going to laser cut out the primary shape of the front of the menu. Well, that was a mistake. Definitely the wrong size. So I built this as a jig so that I can then cut the back paper, which is slightly different. Well, I'll show you that in a second. But I have to put this back basically in the exact same spot. So there's a jig there to keep that where it belongs. So next we're gonna put this into that jig underneath there and cut this blue out. So that represents the main body of the menu. Top cut, with the MDF, and then the bottom cut with the text cut out of it. The next part is something that I actually created kind of as the keepsake. You know, nobody wants to keep your freaking menu. Nobody cares. But if you can give them something to keep, there's a chance they actually will. I keep forgetting that just like Adobe Illustrator, Lightburn, the software I'm using, has alignment tools that I can use. And that's it. I literally have no idea how much of that you were able to hear or how any of that worked out. So in case you couldn't hear any of that, essentially what I did was this. I started by gluing the menu onto 1/8 inch MDF and then cut out just that shape. I put it in a jig so that I could reline it back up, glued on the back, and then cut out a shape that was lined up but had this instead of the cutout here, and then also the little surprise of a word enjoy, because I believe in always rewarding the careful observer. And so we did that here, and then this piece was designed specifically to give guests something to take home. Nobody gives a crap about your menu. Nobody's gonna take it home. Nobody wants it. But give them something beautiful. This was a quote by Calamus that says, "Autumn is a second spring when every leaf is a flower." And that's a little piece that sat just shy of the profile of the menu itself, so that it's kind of clear that there's something weird going on here. And then in this case, you know, having it off to the side like that a little bit makes it a little more interesting. But the idea is this is a little decorative piece someone can actually keep. This was a challenge. First of all, it was an awesome creative challenge. As you may have been able to see, recreating it was difficult. Creating it the first time was even more so. But on top of that, it was how do I reflect the taste of what I know of Kiana's work, and then of Rachel and Tamar, their work, who I know a little bit better. And then how do I reflect that in something that I'd be proud of and do so in 24 hours. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I can show you some pictures. You can actually see those right now. Those pictures were taken by Greg Fink. He's an incredible, man, Greg is an incredible photographer. Greg, thank you so much for taking those awesome pictures. There's one more thing that we had. Yeah, here it is. .3D printed napkin rings with names in them. This is actually Kiana's right there. And I made a better one for her. This one had some issues with it. The idea is, theoretically, we'd find a client who'd be willing to pay to have these lost wax cast in brass. You would 3D print these in a wax that would be put in investment, the wax burnt out, leaving a void, and then cast them in brass. And I think it'd be pretty amazing to do brass napkin rings that are also place cards. I think it'd be pretty wild. So all together, this is kind of the colorway that we were looking at with all of this together. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. Again, you know, this was a real challenge because the thing that I do best is reflect my clients and my work. And I didn't really have the opportunity to do this because there was no couple getting married. When I saw that Kiana and Rachel and Tamar were hosting this workshop, I knew that I wanted to be involved. And so I rang them up and said, how can I help? It's wild. Actually, the first iteration of this was not an organic shape at all. And I realized that it wasn't a great fit. And so I found some inspiration from some hand-thrown plates that led to some of these shapes or shapes like it, these kind of egg-shaped things. And I'm really happy with how these nested shapes came out. I love the idea of using one's hand in work like this. That's my handwriting in there. And I'm really proud to have things like that out in the world. I have missed you so much. There's so much more to show you. I can't wait to show you. If you like this video, could you hit like, subscribe, do all that jazz. But really what I want to do is thank my patrons. I can be found at patreon.com/afinepress. If you enjoy this work, if you enjoy the videos that I produce, which hopefully will be an even more balanced mix of production and the kind of hows and whys, because the reality is I approach this work differently than anybody I know out there. And I'd love to tell you more about that. And also it gives me a way to process this. So if you'd love to see more videos like that, could you support this channel by going to patreon.com/afinepress? I'd appreciate it really much. I am especially thankful to Torsten Jansky and Jordan Marble. They have been longtime supporters at the journeyman level, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you guys. Until next time, see you later. That's some good coffee. Chrome Yellow in Atlanta. If you dig good coffee, I think this is the first roast they've done in-house. It's their holiday roast. Not bad.